Hello YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at the Redcat volcano. If you've been following some of my videos, you know that I done a few upgrades to it. I took out the brushed motor and ESC and put in a brushless, and in doing so it just it zips around now. It's got a lot of high speed and torque to it. And since I've done that, just because of the speed of the thing, you know, I was driving and it caught one of my actual truck tires by hitting just this front wheel, and it ripped some of the screws out where it goes into the C-hub and the steering links, you know, because it's all plastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and replace all that with some aluminum upgrade parts, put in some new bushings. I picked these up from Hobby Park, and we're also going to put in the front and rear lower arms just to help stabilize it. I considered getting the aluminum body, the chassis underneath, but at this point we're just going to hold off. We're going to see how these aluminum upgrades work, see if it holds up a little bit better. You know, it is a all plastic vehicle. When you're running it with the nickel cadmium batteries, 7.2 volts, you know, I'm sure the plastic is good enough. But as soon as you start putting in a lipo into the thing and put it in a brushless system, it, you know, runs on it fine, but you just need to upgrade some of the parts because you're gonna be busting some plastic. So we'll go ahead and dive in and get it going. I'll be skipping around a lot. It's probably gonna be a pretty lengthy procedure, so we'll just see how it goes. So we'll just go ahead and we'll just take off all the tires right now. Get them all off the truck. Alright, so I've removed the front grille bumper. It was kind of into the way of me getting in here and getting some of the C-clips off for the lower arms. I removed the shocks, just the pins on the bottom, as you can see here. Just put the shocks up on top, put a rubber band around them so they stay up out of the way, because basically what I'm replacing is the lower arms, these two items right here, not sure the names of them, and the steering hubs. So let's go ahead and we'll get back into it here. These come off with just a Phillips screwdriver. So it looks like we got a nut on the back. I always try to keep the same parts with the same screws, the same nuts. So I'll just go ahead and slide that back on. Do the same thing to this side. Those off. Dog bones come out. We'll take a look at those here in a minute and see what kind of shape they're in. Now, it looks like we have C-clips. I'm thinking this whole front section is going to have to come off to get these to slide out. Now we'll pop off the front C-clips here and see what happens. Okay, it looks like this front thing is just going to slide out here. Bingo. It looks like I can just pop off the C-clips from the back here. Should be able to slide these pins out now. Yep. And that should drop. And there's your arms. I gotta find that one C-clip that jumped away from me here. Okay, so we were able to pull the C-clips from the back side here and get them out. These pins just slid right out. The lower arms just dropped off. Alright, continuing on my front hubs and lower arms. I went ahead and I did one side because I wanted to make sure I had a good idea how to do it before I actually showed you guys. Okay, so here we go. Once you take it off, what you're left with is pretty much this. We want to go ahead and take off this bracket here. And the new parts come with all new screws and stuff, so you can just go ahead and set them off to the side. We'll put the new ones in. Now this took me a minute to figure out. You've got a set screw down here that's got to come out. And what that set screw does, probably off frame here, what this set screw does is it puts pressure on this pin that runs right through here, which holds on the steering hub here. So we'll get the old bracket, and I just kind of set this up here like this, and I pushed through. Oh, this one actually came out pretty easy. The other one was stuck. You can see the pin kind of sticking out there. We'll just grab a small pair of pliers and just wiggle it out like so. Comes apart. I just took a small precision screwdriver, lifted up on the hub nut here, and it's just like basically all the other ones. It's just pressured on there, and it's got the little pin in there that holds it. So I'm going to remove the pin, remove the hub nut. This pops out, and at this point we have a bearing in here, but we're not going to utilize these anymore, so we're going to go ahead and set that off the side. The kit came with new bearings, so we'll go ahead and we'll pop a new bearing in. And I always take a dab anytime I put in a new bearing. I take a dab of marine grease and just, you know, this isn't so much going to be going into the water, but you know what, I just like those bearings to have that little bit of protection just in case. Good, clean that off. We're going to give this just a touch right here at the base, just so it has some on the inside. Slide it in. And this way we know we've got grease on both sides of the bearing. Take the excess off the threads. Clean off our little pin. We can slide that in and put our hub nut back on. Make sure that seats all the way down. You may have to adjust that little pin. Make sure that nut seats all the way in. There it goes. Little pop. Shows that it's in. A few spins help disperse some of that grease into that bearing. Now we get our other arm. Make sure we get it on the right way. So we just kind of reverse everything now. We're going to slide this back in. First off, let's clean this pin up. And for these pins, I'm just using a little bit of 3-in-1 all temp silicone. Just putting a touch on there just to lubricate. Wipe off the excess. We'll start our pin, and in it goes. And you can see we're going to have a new set, it's a smaller set screw, but a set screw goes right here in the bottom. Here's my other set screw. Go ahead and slide that in. Might not be a bad idea to put a little Loctite on it. Let's see there, nice and tight. Feels good. Feels good, except one problem. Have you noticed I got it in backwards? And that's what you get for not paying attention. So we'll just go ahead and pop this out, spin it around. There we go. That looks a little better. My gosh, I did it again. Am I seeing things backwards here or what? Let's try it like that, shall we? There we go. Now we can get the set screw in there. Good. That looks a little better. We'll get our little pin here that hooks it onto the chassis. Those have been cleaned and lubricated with a little bit of silicone. This one's going in a little tighter than the other one. Not quite sure why. I'll go ahead and test fit it. Feels pretty good. I'm just going to drop a tad more silicone on that, and we'll go ahead and run her in again. There we go. And as you can see, maybe you can't, it pops out the back here. So what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and take our pliers, grab a C-clip, and I think we can just sneak that on right here. Yes, we can. And then we'll just take this and pull it out. So we're ready to go. We'll get our other little arm here. And I always like to measure them up to the old piece. Looks like our length is good. Get that one in. Top one in here. Now the new parts come with lock nuts, both top and bottom. Where the old ones only had a lock nut on the top part. We're going to go ahead and get the lock nuts all the way around. Okay, we got all our lock nuts on. We'll go ahead and put our shocks back on. Now would be a good time probably to check your shock oils. If that's what you would like to do. Trying to look and see which hole the shocks are set at. Looks like it was on the front hole. So we'll get our little Gucci's here. There's one side. And guess what we forgot to do, folks? You got it. Put in the dog bones. Got to put in the dog bones. Take a look. They look like that one's in pretty good shape. That one's in pretty good shape. By golly. Isn't that just wonderful? That's pretty simple. Just back out our shock screws is all. It's not that big a deal. Well, then again, maybe it is a big deal. Looks like we're going to have to take off our top little mount here. Also, yeah, this is what working on RCs is all about. You know, none of us are perfect right out of the box. Put them together, take them apart. Okay, now that that's off, slide it in there, slide it in there. And I may have to put Loctite on these. The old ones, when you mounted them in, they screwed right into the plastic. And the plastic kind of held it in. These obviously just go straight through. So we may have to put some Loctite. Probably be a pretty good idea to put some Loctite on there. Go ahead and get my Nylock back on there. And there we go. That's one side done. Alright, here's the front. All put back together. I got the rear to do now. When I get it all put together, I'll go ahead and double check all my screws and everything just to make sure it's all snugged up nice and tight. But you can see, should give it a little bit of sport. I know I am putting aluminum into plastic chassis, but you know, I like a little bit of give in there. We'll see how it works. It may end up that I have to get another the aluminum chassis and just go all aluminum, which is fine down the road. You know, it's a good project truck. So we'll break away right now for a little bit, and I'll start on the back. It's pretty much going to be the same things as the front. The only difference is, let's see, I don't know. Yes, I do have the back. Where's the rest of the back? So it looks like I'll be replacing this part, this part and the lower. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit more involved than the front, and we'll go ahead and get some video of that just so you guys can see how it's done. Alright, we'll be back with you in a minute. Alright, back at you. So we got 1/2 of the rear done. And you know, it is a little bit different setup. It's basically the same. I've got to take the bumper off to get access. It is set up just a touch differently, but you know, it's pretty common sense. You just look at what you're doing, it's pretty common sense. I'll tell you what, to show you just how new I am at this hobby and learning, and this is the first set of steering hubs and lower arms and stuff I've put in. You know, I sat here looking at these bigger bearings that came in the package, and I didn't even realize that the bigger bearing drops on the inside of the steering hub. One on the outside, one on the inside. Well, guess what I didn't do to my front end? So after I get the back end put together, I am going to have to take the front end apart again and make sure I get the big bearings in the steering hubs, because if you don't do it, there is a wobble here. This will wobble back and forth. The old units looks like they had plastic or maybe a steel band it was riding on in here, but you can see the difference. It's a deeper hub, allows you to get that other bearing seated down in there and still use your screw holes. So please don't make that mistake, because it is a pain in the rear to keep taking these things apart, but in doing that you'll learn a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and cut away here and go ahead and finish the second half of the rear, and we'll be back at you. Alright, well here we are all put together. I got the front completed and the back's all done. I had a tough time, you know, and I'm not sure what the technical name of these little braces are right here. You know, they kind of act like a little turnbuckle, you know, I guess to adjust your toe in, toe out on the wheels. The aftermarket ones I bought, you know, which were the purple that kind of matched the purple aluminum, you know, they wouldn't stay tight, they rattled around, they loosened up. So I ended up throwing the original ones back on, and it just seemed to tighten everything up real nice. So, you know, it was a little more challenging than I thought. It wasn't by any means difficult. It just, you've just got to look at what you're doing and kind of think a couple steps ahead. You know, there's a couple times I put parts on backwards. You know, a lot of them all kind of look the same when you're dealing with the front and the back, the hubs and the lower support bars and everything. So, but that was just it, you know, just kind of looking ahead and planning it out. Maybe a little bit better, but they're done. And give you a quick look there. The purple kind of gives it a snappy look. Now, right now we're getting a little bit of snow, so I can't get it out and give it a run. But hopefully here soon. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you that have subscribed. I hope you have a great new year. Until the next video, we'll see ya.